So by the failure of the systems and the shock of realizing that they were not what I thought they were, I turned inward and discovered aspects of myself that were hitherto unconscious. I didn't know I had it in me. And it's been years now. I've been off all medication. I have flare-ups every once in a while in which I do need medication. And the reason why I take the medication is because I don't have any other avenues available to me, the hands-on therapy. And the reason why I don't have those hands-on therapies is because the insurance companies don't consider it valuable. You know, it's an evaluation they make. It's a determination. They evaluate, you know, and it has to do with their values. And ultimately, their first and foremost value is to profit. And the way they profit is by not expending expenditures. Yeah. I know it's more complex. I know it's not that simple, but it really doesn't matter to me. When I'm in pain, things get really simple. Either you're going to help me or you're not going to help me. And either I can tolerate it or I can't tolerate it. And my goal is to stay walking, to continue to have the ability to walk. Everything else is a boon. Just a tremendous blessing. But in order to do that, it also requires that I am happy, because I'm in pain all the time. Being mad and angry and upset causes the pain to multiply tremendously. So, you know, it's not an easy deal. It's you know, I get pissed just like anybody else gets pissed. I can drop something on the floor and the first thing that comes to my mind is a curse word, because I got to bend over. And I've spent years and years and years doing core training and stretching and all these exercises, years and years and years, just to be able to bend over and lend a hand. That was one of my great inspirations. I want to be strong enough to be able to bend over and lend a hand. But then you go out into the world with all these people who are lending hands, and they get into this competitive field. Well, I'll lend a hand better than you. I can lend a hand better than you. And it just becomes this ego trip. You know, everybody says, well, I do more than you do. I do more than you do. And they don't take into effect, you know, they edit out of their consciousness everything that does not justify their expenditure of energy, you know, which is supposed to get them a return, you know, on their investment. It's very simplistic, and I see it. So this guy, this elder, he one of the first things he had me go over was this chapter in a book he authored about stereotyping criminals, prisoners. And he openly admits in there that you know, it's a lot of power for somebody in authority to stereotype another person, and the way stereotyping works is that the person in authority stereotypes the person in an inferior place, an inferior stature or status, and then the inferior must accept the stereotype and then start exhibiting that type of behavior to affirm the stereotype placed upon them by their superior. And it's a very dangerous ground. You know, it's having to do with prisoners. It just affirms that they have a job. You know, I mean, doctors don't want everybody to get well because they've got bills to pay. I read this saying about how, psychoanalysts, take years and years and years to psychoanalyze somebody to help them through their issues because it's a paycheck kind of thing. If they were all got well, then they wouldn't have anybody, to get paid by. And it's just the way it is. I understand that we've just got to keep learning and growing and all that stuff. It's just that I get bored really quickly with people expending so much energy trying to profit at another person's expense, not taking into account the cost. But this is the times we're in. The military costs a lot of money, and people are complaining about the big government and the debt that we have. And I was thinking about this the other day. We've got to have that goal. And it was another Wikipedia entry. I think it had to do with deviancy and how the importance of everybody working together towards a common goal shows productivity. I mean, just tremendous productivity there. I got a aphorism: when profit is king, people come second. There's got to be a goal in which it speaks to the people, not to the profit. Anyway, one thing I am not is a female. So relating to females gives me a very excellent object lesson in self-discovery and how to discover who I am. However, I've met many females who are not interested in who I am, or even who they are, just what they want. And they seem uniquely unconscious to the fact that their wants and their desires that are fleeting and temporary, though ultimately are life affirming, control them in such a way as to become intolerant, indignant, and indifferent to men in general, the male perspective in general. I was talking to my dad about how, the male has this strong sense of self, and the female seems to have this strong orientation towards the other. So the male is oriented towards self-development, and the female is oriented towards other development of others. And through developing of others, they develop themselves, but then come menopause, they come into this self-identity, and this other-orientatedness is, I felt, linked to the fact that they have this body process of their menstrual cycle that is beyond their control. They can't control it. It's not in their control. It's something that controls them that they just have to contend with. So it's this other process that is not them, but is happening to them. And so they become other-oriented, but then once menopause occurs, they feel like they have their own body. It's their own. They can take it back. But then they very often have this posture I've recognized, this stance, this attitude of where I was at when I was just a young boy, like 12, 14. So their sense of identity and self is very adolescent. But then they've got all this life experience and wisdom and knowledge of an adult. So much to learn from everything. Have a good day.